Start a business with no money. It seems impossible, but it's very doable. In today's video, I am going to show you the exact steps I use every time I start a business with no money. Who am I? I'm Greg. I am a serial entrepreneur turned consultant. I love helping people start businesses. It's the one thing that I seem to enjoy more than starting and running my own businesses. I just really enjoy helping others find success. Before we get into today's video, do me a favor and click that subscribe button. By clicking subscribe, you will help this channel out, and you'll also know when great new content is dropped so that you're in the know. All right, so it is often believed that starting a business takes a lot of money. The challenge is that normal people like you and like me don't have big, deep pockets to start a company with lots of money. We don't have the access to the money that it seems like all the rich, wealthy people have. But starting a business with no money is actually smarter, safer, and frequently it's actually more successful. With deep pockets, someone is likely to build out everything they want, spending all of their money without any customer focus, and they end up building a product that nobody wants and spend all of their money doing it. Without money, you are able to focus on providing exactly what the customer wants without wasting time or money. So that leaves the question, how? How do we go about building a company with no money? Well, here is how I do it every time. Step one, well, this one's pretty obvious. Identify your product. What is your product? Your product could be physical, it could be virtual, it could be a service that you provide. Whatever that product is, figure it out. Now, on this channel, we do have a couple videos about finding your product, figuring out what it is that you can offer. But the simplest way that I can tell you to do that is solve a problem. But if you want help figuring this out, go ahead and go watch some of those other videos on this channel to help you figure out what your product is. Now that you have your product, who is your customer? Identify who needs that product and be very, very specific in identifying the customer. I even go so far as to give that fake customer a name. I define their age, I define their race, I define their family size, whether they're married or single, have kids, how many kids, how old are those kids, what do they drive, how much do they make, what kind of job do they work, where do they live, what kind of house do they live in. I define as many details of this person as I can. Because when I know the exact person that buys my product, I can now reach that person very specifically. Now, your product may have a broad audience range, a broad range of people who will buy your product. That's okay. But really, the primary specific person should be very specific anyway. Because when you try and sell a product to everybody, nobody buys it. But when you sell a product specifically, that specific person will buy it as well as all those other people that you were trying to reach anyway. By being so specific, it gives you a very clear communication path. You know, one, where are they? What kind of communication do they pay attention to? And what kind of wording and speech and things do you need to communicate clearly to that person? And what's the value proposition? What is the value of your product to that very specific person? If I'm selling something to someone somewhere, which is everybody, well, that's exactly how I'm going to talk. I have a product that may or may not help you, and it's available here or there or somewhere. The problem is now nobody knows what my product is or how it works or how it actually benefits them. But when I can very clearly communicate that I have a specific product that solves your specific needs, other people listen in and they hear that and buy that product as well. So don't be afraid of being specific. This is a number one failure point for a lot of people. They want everybody to buy their product because they think it gives them the most advantage in selling the most amount of product. Truthfully, in picking the smaller, more niche group, you will sell more product. All right. The next step is to properly price your product. You have to figure this out. What is it going to cost you to produce the product or cost you in time? Or what are the expenses associated with the product? You need to figure that out. What are all of the expenses and what is your time investment into each one of the deliverables that you're going to offer? Then you need to figure out your pricing. Whatever pricing you figure out, I strongly advise you to consider doubling that number, because often when you first start out, you lowball your number thinking it's good, and you find out that you've actually made your number too small. So if you've never done this before, figure out what price you need for your product and what price you think is good, then double that number. Now look around the market and see if there are other similar product offerings or things like your product or selling to the same audience, and see if that price fits within what is realistic in your market. If the price is too high, people won't buy. If the price is too low, people think that your product's just a junk product, and again, they don't want to buy. So figure out a realistic price where you can make a profit and check it against the market and see if it fits correctly within what the market is offering. Now, the next step is you didn't produce any product yet. Don't go there. Don't go there. The next step is sell one. That's right. You don't even have the product produced. You just figured out who your audience is. You figured out first what your product was, then you figured out your audience, your buyer. Then you figured out your pricing for such a product. The next thing you're going to do is sell it. You're not going to produce it yet. You haven't built out any of your business yet. Don't do that. Now you're just going to go and sell it. You can pre-sell it. Hey, Bob, I am selling a widget. The widgets will be available on June 1st. They're $20 a widget. This is going to solve your whatever problem. Would you like one? All right, cool. I am going to put you on the pre-sale list. Give me $20. By pre-selling it, you're proving to yourself that you have a viable customer base with a viable product. And you're proving that you can sell it. This is important. You've really spent no money and no time yet. So you have not wasted time and you have not wasted money. Maybe you'll find that the product, the way you're pitching it, isn't working. That doesn't mean it's a bad product, but maybe there's a slight tweak. Okay, Bob, you didn't want to buy it. What would have made you want to buy it? Well, if widget A did this instead of that. Okay, I'll switch it up. Let's take dog walking. Dog walking is actually starting to become a slightly saturated market. So if I pitch you on dog walking, I may find out you already have a dog walker, you don't need a dog walker, or maybe you love walking your own dog and don't want somebody to walk your dog. But the problem that you're running into is you like to go away for the weekend, you like to go on vacations, but you have nowhere to bring your dog. So maybe the value that somebody's looking for, the product that they're looking for, is actually a dog sitter, not a dog walker. So there might be a twist to your product that makes it a more viable product. So now that we have very little time and no money invested, we've been able to adjust our offering to better fit our customer, to have a better product to sell to our customer, a more viable, more profitable product. So at this point, now we figured out the better product, we figured out the better pricing, we figured out the better profitability, and now we sold one. What do we do now? We sell the next one. We sell number 2. Go ahead and sell a second one. Why do we do this? Because that momentum matters. So go ahead and go get that second sale and get that momentum going. And it's going to continue to prove to you that you have a viable product to sell. All right, after you sell the second product, now go ahead and start producing whatever that product is. Don't go buy container loads of them or spend a fortune on it. You've only sold 2. Now, little story here. When I started our bakery, we had a bakery, which I have since sold off. But when I started the bakery, I had a customer who needed custom cookies. They could not find anywhere to buy their custom cookies, and they could not find anywhere to produce a good cookie either. So I said, I'll do it. I did very minimal homework to figure out kind of what the pricing model should look like for these cookies. And they were quite expensive, in my opinion, for a cookie. And I pitched it. I said, okay, I've got cookies. They're $5 a cookie or whatever they were. I mean, they weren't cheap cookies. How many do you want? And the other thing is, I want you to buy them recurring weekly. They said, great, that's awesome. You've got the cookies. I'll buy them. I want 25 cookies a week. Perfect. I had a customer. So what did I do? I took his credit card information right away, ran his card, but I didn't have any actual cookies. So what did I do? I went and found a bakery quick that would make me my cookies. And I actually technically took a loss on that first batch of cookies. Why? Because I wanted to prove the concept. I found a customer, I found a product. I was able to take the money for the product, and I was able to find a place to produce the product. Okay, so now those first cookies are out the door. So what did I do next? I found another customer for the cookies. Awesome. Now I've got 2 customers buying cookies on a recurring basis at a fair price. And I know about what it's going to cost to actually produce the cookies myself. So now I've got 2 customers buying cookies, which gives me my startup business now. So now I go ahead and build out the website to sell more cookies. The website, not critical, but I built one. And then I went and bought some of the equipment that I needed to produce cookies. I didn't buy the biggest, most expensive equipment because keep in mind, I only had 2 customers at this point, and I'm trying to be profitable quickly. So I bought the smaller equipment, which took a little bit more effort to use because it couldn't produce large quantities quickly. It produced okay quantities at an okay pace. So there's a little bit of labor trade-off here. But I was able to then produce the cookies in-house for these 2 customers. Now I asked these 2 customers for referrals because now I've got something going. They gave me referrals and I reached out and started acquiring more customers. As I acquired more customers, I was then able to use the profits, not debt, not other things, profits from my business to purchase a few more pieces of equipment that I needed to really get my cookie business running. Now I had a recurring revenue model on a bakery, which is unheard of, producing ultimately cookies that were then being shipped to my customer on a weekly basis. And I started picking up customers. I started reaching out to customers. I'd produce some sample cookies for potential customers and send them to them. They frequently ended up buying once they saw and tasted the delicious cookies that we were producing. So you don't need to have the product fully developed before you sell it. Go ahead and find your customer and sell the product before you produce the product and waste all of your money doing so. In doing this, I quickly developed a very profitable bakery. I was able to hire people to work for the bakery, which started out actually with my kids who wanted a job, so I was able to provide a job to them. And then I had to add some other staff as it grew. Ultimately, it ended up that to me, I really didn't want to run a bakery. I did it because I could make money with it. So what did I do? I sold it. Got rid of the bakery and moved on to more things that I could do. Truthfully, there's only so many things that I can do in a day. So the bakery was one of those things that I decided to get rid of for a profit. It made me good money while I had it. It made me good money to get rid of it. And then I was able to move on and do some other things, again, implementing this process of starting more companies. So it's just a great way to do it where you're not wasting your money. Bootstrapping things works very well. That's what it's called. You're bootstrapping when you're doing it without money. So the 5th and final step to this whole thing is now that you made your viable product, you were able to find customers for it, you were able to sell it, you're able to start producing it, you form your company. You form your website, you form your LLC or corporation status, whatever that may be, and you form whatever other pieces you may need to do this. That time and that money of forming the corporation and all of those time-consuming pieces is done after you know you have something to sell. That's what I got for you today, guys. If you need help discovering your company, starting your company, remember, I love helping you. There are links in the description where you can schedule time with me. I am very happy to help you at any time.